Welcome everybody to our second Google Hangout for the Hiring Our Heroes Military Spouse Employment Program. Because this is only our second Hangout, we wanted to start with a bang and do one of our major partners, do an overview of one of our major partners for you. So today we are welcoming Meg O'Grady, who's the Director of the Military Spouse Employment Partnership for the Department of Defense. Just to give everybody a brief overview of Google Hangouts who hasn't been here before. These Hangouts were set up by our wonderful partner Google as a free service to veterans and military spouses to connect you with sort of an online library of resources for veterans and military spouses in the employment space. And so what we do at the Chamber here is invite partners who are important to veterans and military spouses and who have good resources for you to help you with your employment and career planning needs. Meg O'Grady is a very important person that you should know. She's a very key partner to Hiring Our Heroes. Hiring Our Heroes is a partner with her program, MSEP. Meg, maybe you can start by talking a little bit about how DoD helps with spouse employment generally, and then we can talk about MSEP in particular.
Okay, great, Laura. Well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks very much for having me today. We do have the spouse employment program at DoD called the Spouse Education and Career Opportunities Program. And that program is a comprehensive suite of tools, resources, and services that really assist military spouses in finding a job, a career, and a career path throughout their service member's career. And the Spouse Education and Career Opportunities Program consists of 4 pillars: career exploration, education and training, career readiness, and career connections. Throughout the exploration phase, military spouses can come to our Military One Source Career Center and explore different careers. They can take assessments. They can take a look at all of the fast growth careers that are out there, those types of careers that may be portable for them, and then move into the education and training, where they can identify programs, training, certifications, and licenses that would help them along their path to the career that they've chosen. Throughout the employment readiness phase, military spouses are able to access our career counselors to build resumes, brush up on their interview skills, and actually really explore the landscape that assists them in searching for a job, whether that's online, through social media, through networking, or through career fairs such as Hiring Our Heroes. Mm-hmm. And then we have the career connections piece, which Hiring Our Heroes is a very big piece of. Through our Military Spouse Employment Partnership, which is the mainstay of our Career Connections pillar, military spouses can connect with over 160 private organizations who have committed to hiring military spouses throughout their service members' career. So they not only commit to hiring military spouses, but they commit to promoting them, finding a career path for them, and relocating them, as well as providing flexible options for work for them. And a very big piece of that for us is the Hiring Our Heroes career fairs. They really provide the high touch so that military spouses can actually connect with those employers on the ground in their community and with their community network.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you talk about the resume and the career counseling and everything else, that's in addition to the counselors that are on their installation, right? This is something that supplements all of that, correct?
Absolutely. Our Military One Source Career Counselors, it is a virtual career center, and all of our career counselors are master's level and certified as career counselors, and they serve as a virtual career center for military spouses wherever they are and whenever they need career help. We work with the installations and the services with those service providers who are on the ground to assist with resources and referrals, and so they really complement each other, and we work hand in hand with our services and the installations.
That's great. So whoever a spouse goes first, she can find the other piece of it locally or nationally, either through MSEP or their installation. So you're all connected in some way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let's talk about the career connections and the private partners that MSEP has. Can you talk a little bit about how any given employer or company becomes an MSEP partner and then what's expected of them once they are an MSEP partner? Because I know you have some standards. Not anybody can be an MSEP partner and hire.
Absolutely. I usually use as an example, one of the things that we do for our partnership is we hold an annual partnership meeting, and the partners come together to share best practices and talk about networking and to really talk about the value of military spouses and how they can best serve that population. And while we were at one of these partner meetings, we had one of our partners who had been with us for a few years, and they turned to one of our new partners who was very new to the partnership and had just joined, and they said, you know, this isn't just a badge on your lapel. This isn't something that you just say you're going to do. They expect you to do some work. And so we do know that the partnership isn't necessarily the right fit for everyone, but we do carefully select our partners because they have committed to educating their entire organization about the value of military spouses, which we know are flexible, adaptable, incredibly resilient, and really bring those 21st century workforce skills that most employers are looking for. They're generally very well networked, and they come to the table and they come to a job and to a career bringing a set of team building skills that many other employers and other employees don't necessarily have. So we ask those employers to educate their entire organization as well as their hiring managers on the value of those military spouses. We ask them to commit to hiring military spouses initially, training them, and then to promoting them through their company and organization, and also to relocating them as their service member relocates, which is often the biggest challenge for military spouses. Our two objectives that we have with the MSEP program are really to reduce the 26% unemployment rate for military spouses and to close the 25% wage gap that military wives commonly experience. And those employers that we bring into the partnership recognize that, and they commit to doing those things that will help us achieve those objectives. As well, we ask them to report to us when they hire military spouses, how many they hire, where they've relocated them, and how often they've been promoted. And we also ask our partners to commit to networking with other partners. So in fact, if a military spouse works for Citigroup and that military spouse moves to a place where they may not be able to continue flexible work or virtual work, then Citigroup would work with another military spouse employment partnership partner to help find that job. So we actually ask them to endorse the talent that they have and help them relocate regardless of whether it's inside the organization or simply inside the partnership.
Right. So do you have any examples of like cool programs that companies have shared through MSEP or with a success story, or yeah, who's one of your rock stars?
Well, we actually, it's very interesting, and this is a great tie-in for hiring our heroes. We are committed to actually putting our program and partners in every Hiring Our Heroes military spouse career fair. And so we happened to be at a career fair at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and I ran into a military spouse, and she said, I heard you talking about military spouses, and I just wanted to tell you that I am one, and I think I work for one of your partners. And it turns out that she had actually started working for Booz Allen Hamilton in Korea and then relocated back to Washington, D.C. and was able to keep her job and actually promote into another job with that organization.
Yeah.
We also have several spouses who actually work for their military spouses who work for our partners as their military spouse employment partnership representative. So they actually have those military spouses who know what the challenges are out there recruiting other military spouses, and we love that.
Yeah, that's great. Booz Allen has done an incredible amount for spouses. They even do focus groups of spouses, right, to try to find out how they can improve.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, we have several different types of partners. So we do have large organizations, like I said, we have Citigroup, we have Coca-Cola, we have FedEx, but we also have smaller partners who may have a smaller amount of jobs, but those jobs are totally virtual. And we know that once they hire a military spouse, that military spouse will be able to actually take that job with them. For example, we actually have our career counselors who work in our career counseling center actually work for one of our MSEP partners, and our MSEP partner who is providing those services has committed to hiring military spouses, veterans, and wounded warriors, and they have created a virtual call center so that military spouses can actually work for them as career counselors and in return work for our career center, and once they receive orders and have to move, they'll be able to continue and keep that job as they move around. So I'm really proud of the fact that we're modeling that for the partnership.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there are a lot of remote work positions on MSEP too, correct? I mean, you got a ton of those.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting, Laura, because a lot of people think that that virtual work or telework has to be something that's not at a professional or a higher level. And what we found is in trying to define a portable career, it's really kind of a moving target. We're finding that more and more as the private sector moves towards these virtual and telework jobs, that more jobs are opening. So it's really hard to kind of pin down what is a portable career, because right now in the space that we're in, just about any job.
Did we lose James?
She's still there.
Okay. So, right, I kind of feel like the term portable career should just be banished from the lexicon for military spouses, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. There's no such thing as a truly portable career. We have a question. It's from a military spouse and a veteran. She says she has her social work degree and she's getting her master's in social work. She can't find a position available in her current location. What should I be doing? Why don't we talk through really quick how to use the MSEP site? You're a spouse, you're curious about it, you're looking for a job. What do you do?
Okay, great. So we do have our MSEP portal, and you can reach that at www.msepjobs.militaryonesource.mil, and all of our employers commit to posting their jobs on the MSEP portal. A military spouse can actually go in and create a profile, and that allows them to put in not only their demographic information, but their education and training and their experience. And through that profile, our MSEP partners can identify those military spouses who are ideal for the jobs that they have. I think we have over 900,000 jobs that have been posted on the MSEP portal, and actually since June 29th of 2011, we've hired over 32,000 military spouses into the partnership. So once you create that profile, you can actually go in and start to search for jobs that are really appropriate for your experience, education, and training. The MSEP portal is one way to find those jobs. I would say also, particularly around those jobs that require licensing and certification, networking is a wonderful way to do that. And I know through our partners, through Hiring Our Heroes, through Blue Star Networks, we've been able to access some of those networks of military spouses who are experiencing those same challenges. Also along the lines of licensing and credentialing, we have a group within Department of Defense that actually addresses the issues of military spouse transferable credentials, and they are working with each state to craft legislation and impact the laws that assist military spouses so that they're able to take those professional licenses and work through some of the challenges of transferring them to another state as they move from place to place.
Yes, Marcus Beauregard from that office was here for our very first Google Hangout with the Blue Star
Yes.
Networks, actually.
Yeah.
He was talking a little bit about that. And they even have a map, right, that you can click on and figure out what's going on in your own state, what the status is.
Absolutely. We can actually, I think we can probably post that information. I know we have that information on our MSEP portal as well. Mm-hmm. The other thing that we're looking at as we look to the future, we understand that there are many professional careers that are difficult for military spouses, but military spouses want to do the work they love. And so we're committed to finding ways to mitigate some of the challenges so that those military spouses can continue to do the work that they love. We are working with federal agencies and private sector companies to identify those particular careers. Social work is one of them. Nursing is certainly one of them. Teaching, K through 12 education is another. We're working with professional associations to figure out, is there a way that we can identify positions early? Can we identify positions in places that wouldn't necessarily be recognizable on this national level, but on a local level, and find a way to post those? So that really is kind of our next big challenge, is really figuring out how can we mitigate those challenges for people like social workers and nurses, teachers, and we continue to work on it, and we're committed to finding solutions.
So when a spouse goes on MSEP and they sign up and create a profile, is it, can you just walk us through the process? Does it ask where she lives, what she does, and how do jobs pop up? If she doesn't see anything, what should she do next? How does that work?
Well, I will tell you that our MSEP portal is a continual work in progress, and so we get feedback from spouses and users and partners all the time that helps us improve that process. Right now, we're working on the technology for an employer to actually come in and find a military spouse profile. So that should be within the next 6 months. We'll be releasing that technology. But when a military spouse comes in, she puts her name. She can use her military service members' information if she chooses. We look at what type of education she's able to put that in, and then they're able to actually go through and create sort of a resume profile. It doesn't create a printed resume. What it does is create that base of data that allows the employer to come in and look at those attributes for the military spouse and really find what's appropriate for them. The other piece is if a military spouse would like to create an actual resume, they're definitely able to access our Career Center and talk to a career counselor who can kind of walk them through the process. If a military spouse has a resume and they'd like to work on improving it, or if they've been kind of putting that resume out there and they haven't had a lot of results, that's really where those military one-source career counselors come in. So the MSEP portal and the Career Center really, they work hand in hand, and then we hope that what that product is someone who can walk into a Hiring Our Heroes career fair and snag a job.
And so let's say someone gets a job. What can MSEP do to help her keep that job, enhance her career within that company, that industry? We should probably talk a little bit about the Hiring Our Heroes Mil-Spouse E-Mentor program with Academy Women, and also how to manage a career fair for these spouses with MSEP. What can they expect?
Okay, absolutely. Well, I would say that once actually, as part of that job search, the one thing that we know that MSEP and the partnership does is it starts to chip away at the stigma of hiring a military spouse, because over and over we've heard military spouses say, you know, I was in an interview and then it seemed like as soon as they found out I was a military spouse, it was harder for me to get that job, or they were wondering, was I going to leave? And so part of that is really just an education piece, and we encourage military spouses, if they're going in and actually applying to one of our partners, to identify themselves and say, thank you for being an MSEP partner. I recognize that you value military spouses, and I am a military spouse. So we want that to be really transparent. And if military spouses are interested in who our partners are, they can go right to the portal, and there's a whole partners page that shows all of our partners right there. So the first step is really identifying that I am a military spouse, because we want them to know, because these partners have committed to, you know, recognizing that. And then once you do get that job, you know, it's really important to start to look and say, you know, where within this organization can I go that will really maximize my potential as a military spouse? So we've asked our MSEP partners to identify mentors within their organization. It's part of our vetting process and our interviewing process to identify what types of mentoring programs they have. We encourage military spouses to network with other military spouses, not only within their organization, but outside of their organization. And the Mil-Spouse E-Mentoring is a perfect example of that. Mil-Spouse E-Mentoring is a wonderful partner that actually came to us through the Hiring Our Heroes program, and it's an electronic platform that allows military spouses to go in and actually choose a mentor who sort of meets their criteria. So an example would be, if I want to be a career counselor with the Ziders company, I could actually go in and say, is there someone that's in your mentor pool that works for Ziders, and maybe they are a career counselor, and I can actually pick that person as a mentor, and I can ask them questions.
Right.
How did you get to be a career counselor? What types of things do I need to do to work for your organization? How do you like your organization? You know, has it been friendly to you as a military spouse? So it's a really nice way to find all kinds of people who are doing the same types of work and to really get some advice. And what we like best about it is it's a very flexible platform. So I don't have to just identify one mentor. I can actually go in and talk to 10 people who are doing the kind of work that I want to do. So in the example of our viewer who just sent in a question about social work, she could go into the MilSpouse eMentor platform and see, are there any social work mentors? And is there someone who can help me, say, within a private sector company or within the federal government? And how were they able to be successful? And then continue that dialogue. But it's not a formal agreement, so she can use it as she sees fit, on demand, when she needs the advice, and then it's there for her whenever she needs it later in her career.
Right. And we just saw the eMentor site come up, I think, on one of our screens. So if anybody has any questions about that, we're happy to post links to the eMentor site. But it is a really nice, fast, and flexible way. And to your point about hiring fairs, I think it's really interesting because what we're seeing from the chamber side more and more is we talk to our members who come to the hiring fairs, who we talk to about military spouses. There really has been sort of a tectonic shift in how they view spouses, whereas some of them still will express some trepidation about how mobile military spouses are. The vast majority are actually telling us, where are the military spouses? We really want to hire more. They're very impressed by them. When they come to the hiring fairs, they're just blown away by the spouses they meet. So I think it's important to reiterate that spouses really, being a military spouse is becoming more of an asset than a liability, and that they should really step up and identify that way. And applying through the MSEP portal is a good way to identify yourself that way, because these employers are actually looking for military spouses, right?
Absolutely. And you know, when you go to the career fair, what we love about the Hiring Our Heroes career fairs is that a military spouse may come in and they may well get a job at that career fair. But the thing that we really love about Hiring Our Heroes is that through the Military Spouse Business Alliance, they're able to gather a whole lot of tools at that career fair. So they can go to a workshop about networking or interview skills or resumes. They can actually do practice interviews. And so what we love is that even if a military spouse may not walk away from that particular career fair with a job, they've certainly walked away with tools that will continue to help them as they move along their career path and really for their lifetime.
Right. I think it's important to note also that MSEP itself shows up at every career fair. So if they don't get a job at that career fair, they can sign up for MSEP, and after they leave the career fair, continue their search virtually through the MSEP portal as well, right?
Absolutely, and all of our career fairs, both for specifically for military spouses and many other veteran career fairs, are always posted on our MSEP portal. Mm-hmm. And we do actually go out for each Hiring Our Heroes career fair and really round up our MSEP partners and say, hey, you need to show up because this is where the military spouses are. And more from our partners, we hear that that's what they're looking for from the partnership. We want to connect with military spouses. Tell us how to do it.
Yeah, I really love the idea of the public-private partnership and the sheer volume of jobs that MSEP has, combined with sort of the high-touch approach that those same MSEP employers can not only post all their jobs and have access to the resumes, but then also follow up and meet the spouses face-to-face, because sometimes what a spouse has isn't necessarily reflected on their resume, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, I would say, having been a military spouse myself, moving 13 times in 17 years, I can't tell you how many jobs I've had in that time. I'll have to count them someday. But, you know, you have to, as you prepare to go to something like a career fair, you know, it really pays to do your homework. You know, what's available in the area that you're going to? Do you have a real clear objective in your head, or are you really going for informational purposes? There's nothing wrong with going to a career fair if you don't have a particular job in mind, just to find out kind of what's the lay of the land. Right. And every single career fair or interview or application that you fill out gives you more experience. And it really is one of those kind of practice and get better types of skills. I mean, you can't just say, well, I don't really need a job right now. Should I even be looking? I mean, it takes some practice and preparation, and the more that you can do, the better.
Right. And I should mention that before every single one of our career fairs, the employers that are going to be at the career fairs are posted on our website, MSEP partners and non-MSEP partners. So if you want to do even more research about the companies you're going to be talking to, you can go and find out who's going to be there ahead of time. And you can get even more information about the MSEP partners on the MSEP website itself.
Absolutely. And you know, the one bit of advice that I would give any military spouse who is actually out there looking for a job or looking for a career is to really be open. You have to be open to the possibilities. I can think back over the probably tens or 20, however many jobs I've had, you know, in the past 25 years, and every single job that I've somehow ended up in that I've loved started as something else. So you really just have to be open. If you narrow your focus so much that you're not willing to accept some of the opportunities or possibilities, it's really difficult to be successful. And I think when you kind of go out there and sort of pulse our networks and talk to those military spouses who've been really successful in relocating and finding a new job, it generally is that, hey, I was really flexible, I was very open to the possibilities, and sometimes something just came about that I never would have thought, but it ends up being my dream job or my perfect career.
Right. Well, I think that's a perfect place to end. Meg, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you want to add before we sign off? You want to give your website again? Or?
Yeah, I would absolutely. For career counseling, you can go to the Military One Source Career Center, and that's at www.militaryonesource.mil. And our MSEP portal is at www.msepjobs.militaryonesource.mil.
All right, and I have a note here that the link to the eMentor platform has also been posted on the VetNet Google Plus page, and you can always find us at hiringourheroes.org. Thank you very much, Meg O'Grady, and thank you everyone
for listening. Thanks very much.
Yay.
Thanks, Laura.